どうも、締め切りから逃げて配信活動している小説家 VTuber の東雲もずくと申します。PM か。17分だったら押そうかな。今日はね、じゃあスタンリー・パラボのデラックスエディションというやつをね、ずっとやってみたかったゲームだったんですけど、そちらをやっていこうと思います。金がも。ずっとやりたかったんだよ。OK。はーい。こう設定させるのがすごいよね。本来だったらさ、ゲーム内フルスクリーンでいいよ。始まりました。すごいな。入れ子構造になってるなんかあったよね、こういうどんどんさループしていくようなさ、ちゃんとした名称があったぜ。 The end is never なんたらかんたら。感度がすごい主人公はスタンリーですね。有名なゲームです。どういう意味で有名なのかというと、
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
こういう風に
No
ね、
matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
ナレーターがいるんですね。このナレーターが結構ね、特殊でございましてね。すごくよくできてる。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
左の方のドアに入りましたってナレーターは言ってるんですよね。まあ左の方に行ってみますか。こういう感じで、このナレーターの指示通りに動いてもいいし、ナレーターの指示に逆らってね、行動してもいいっていうゲームなんですよね。会議室だ。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
上司のオフィス。 特に何かいじれるわけではないんだ。
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
なるほど。こういう感じで寄り道もできるわけ。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
上の階にあるらしい。まずは従ってみようかね。そんな上なんだ。すごい。おしゃれな部屋。To be rich is it a crime? To commit crimes isn't it rich? What a life it will be to have to pick just one. Extreme bathrooms. 上司の部屋だけなんかめちゃ豪華や。てか階層だけ。こっちじゃないのか。おお。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
おお。大丈夫？ホラーゲームみたいになったぞ。上司やばいやつだったな。
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
で戻れるわ。
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out. もう下押せねえ。 Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow. I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
まあよくシナリオ通りに動かなかったなって怒られてるわ。今の時刻でも打ってみる。どうすることもできなくなっちゃったぞ。もう一回下行けるわ。
Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
すまんね。ちょっと気になっただけだったんだよ。
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he? Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
エスケープ。マインドコントロール施設だって。帰れなくなった。なんだこれ。こっち。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
お、落下できた。
Aha! You've made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. Welcome! You see, back when the Stanley Parable first launched in 2013, getting to the bottom of the mind control facility was a bug that we simply didn't catch during development. And you all sent us lots of photos of it on Twitter and acted very superior about it. And you're all very, very clever. Good for you. Anyway, when it came time to update the game, we knew that we had to do something about this little goof of ours. So here you go. New content. You can call it the bottom of the mind control room ending, if that enhances your perception of the value of these updates. Isn't that what you crave? New content? Always more content, more, more. And I'm here to give it to you. I'm here to make it seem like we really covered every nook and cranny of the game with secrets and Easter eggs. How about this? We wrote a new piece of music just for this section. You won't hear it anywhere else in the game. It's a secret that's just for you. That's how special you are. We call this track, Good Job You've Made It to the Bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Well done.
めちゃくちゃ根に持ってるやん。
Good job, you did it. Good job. 3, 2, 1. Good job, you made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. You jumped on the catwalk. You should have been careful. You should have been careful. It used to be a bug, but now it's an ending. Now it's an ending. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to cross this barrier and chase your dreams. But railings don't mean anything. Good job, you did it. 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 Good job, you did it.
まさかナレーターが歌ってくれると思わなかったな。素晴らしい。あ、最初のエンディングそれなんだ。俺が迎えた。おもろい。以前もバグだったっぽいね。あそこから落っこっちゃうことが。適当な時間指し示してるよね。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
みんないなくなっちゃったな。どうしたんだろう。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
会議室に向かってみようかな。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
ギリギリ間に合う速度で喋ってんだ。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. and so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
適当な番号打ってみようか。
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself, and Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
もたもたしてるから。えらいこっちゃーだって。今度は普通に行ってみようかね。とりあえずシナリオ通りに進みたい。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
以前はあれだったんだ。ここに登れちゃうのはバグだったんだね。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen. And Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
104クビになってるし、601もクビになってる。でも誰一人としていないけどね。なんだこれ。
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
ちょっとだけ触れる。ちゃんと押してるんだ。施設の電源って書いてあるんだ。わざわざこう書くかなと思うけど。システムパワー。オンかオフか。
When at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
シナリオはオフだったんだ。うん。どうなっちゃうんだ？
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's
なんか
command.
開いてってる。
Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone?
確か
How
に。
had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
反対側に行ったらどうなるかな。あ、いけねえわ。ダメか。この境目とかどうなっとん？
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin,
誘
the
拐された。
feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
あ、よかった。解放されたんだ、仕事から。はいはいはいはい。これが本来のシナリオなわけですね。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
ドアガチャをしまくったらどうなんだろう。自分の部屋に戻りたい。さすがに逃げないのかな。
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
こいつ、この432の人、鉛筆削りだけ渡されてんな。完全にいい意味ではないですね。ダメなのかな、自分の部屋をガチガチやるのは。しゃあない。ちょっと待ってね。ごめん。これセッティングは関係ないか。なんでこれ外真っ白なんだ。 5個ある端末を触ることが条件なのかな。こっち側とか行ってみたいんだけどね。
When Stanley came to a set of two open
Yeah,
doors,
右だね。
this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room.
退屈になってる。
Room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
そうだね。素晴らしいよ、この部屋は。
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
ディスに変化してきたぞ。でもさんいらっしゃい。勘違いしてた？あらら。今日は9時からですよ。
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue.
やば。
When a long
指示
time
中
had
が湧い
passed
てる
and。there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
ゲーム
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
開かないな。壺とかにいなかった？いや、いないよ。まさかね。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
はいはいはい。乗れるぞ。なんだこれは。ワーニング。We call this ペナルティ。なるほどね。なるほど。すごいとこにコーヒーカップ乗っけてんな。なんかうまくやればいけそうなもんだけどね。あ、危ない。ほっ、あ、いける。え、そんで、あ、え、すごい。本当にベントに行けるじゃん。あ、何？なんか差し込まれてる。
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun
ナレーターサウンドシステムって書いてある。
You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
ああ、帰ってきた。この部屋もなんか秘密がありそうだよな。この椅子当たり判定がない。しゃがめんだ。すごいコントロールだとすごいしゃがめる。この部屋で居続けることでなんか発生したりするのかな。
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No, this couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. And here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed. Then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
あら。なるほど、そういうエンディングなのか。引きこもりエンド。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Huh? Eh? なるほど。何周もしなきゃいけないんだ、これ。今初めて触ったから前回は初めて触ったから1回目だったんだけど。
Stanley came to a set of two open doors. He entered the door on his left.
Left. と見せかけて right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
そう、エンプロイラウンジに入ってね。
Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Left. Yes. レフトですね。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
このさ、この箱のデンジャーのさ、Vent Access for Trained Employees Only ってやつがさ、これどういうことかっていうと、訓練を受けた従業員のみベントにアクセスできるよっていう意味だったんだよね。でこれ見てよくわかんねえけど、このキワキワのとこに立てばいいんだろうなと思ったら、本当にベントがあったっていうね。指示中ガン無視で草ってイライラしてるこのおっさんも。まあここに乗ってみるか。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you. Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, Let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
うん。Danger everywhere 2B1 とかになっちゃった。あ、そう、フラグ管理、そう。だから俺は初見であそこに気づけたんだよね。で結構こういうなんか適当な書いてあるところとかも意味があったりするんだろうね。
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
(さすがに無理か。赤いドアね。わかった。じゃあ赤いドアに行ってやるよ。まずは。
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be
証明
happy
し
all
て
this
みせろ。
time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't
Oi.
you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop.
おい。
We would
堂
both
々
be
巡り
so
だっ
much
て。
happier if we just stopped.
あ、そうそうそう
And
そ
I
う。
think,
指示中
well,
ゲ
I
ームっ
think
て
I have
話
a
をしたかったんだけど、
Here,
それも出て
let
く
me
るよ
show
ね。
you.
カジさんだっけ？え？お、あ、
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes.
おー、綺麗。
It's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
これ何？これ何？この光は何？塩野さんか。そっちの方のゲームもプレイしたことはないんだけど、聞いたことあるんだよな。なんかの記事で見たことがある。確かに綺麗だけどさ、何なのかがわかんないんだよな。これこっちは何？何なんだこの部屋。ありがと
No, wait. Where are you going?
う。戻ろ
Right. Where were we?
う。どうやら見なきゃいけないようだ。ラストはスタンリーとシーチューのおっさんが幻想的な風景を一緒に見て幸せになってエンド。うん。言われなくなったな。めっちゃ綺麗。めっちゃ綺麗だけど。これ、あれだ。なんか、眼球グッて押した時みたいに、押した時に見える景色みたい。まぶたを閉じてさ。わかるかな？こんなに明るくはないけど、まぶたを閉じて眼球グッて押した時こういう景色見えるよな。わかる。やっぱこれ共通なんだな、人類。こういう感じのなんかね、映像が見えるんだよね。こんなに明るくはないけどさ。ちょっと飽きてきたんだけど。あ、でも光が追加されてないな、これ。 この光が全部なくなったら終わりかな。いやでも綺麗ではあった。おかしくなりそうだけどね、これ見てると。何の映像、何のゲームなんだろうって思うよな、今来た人。おう。大丈夫スタンリー。元気？いや、もう耐えられん。配信であるんだ、この絵。なんだここ。急に幻想。
Oh no! Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
なんだ？階段には近づかないで。何があるんだ？
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're
あ
doing.
飛び降りができるのか。それはさすがにいただけないな。はい、やめてやれよ。なんだこれ。子供が描いた絵みたいのがあったけど。あ、まだ、いや。
Good, good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there. Just stay here.
うん、ここにいるのはいいんだけど、変化がないと飽きちまうぜ。ガチだったよな。ナレーターの人もトーンが。あと、いけーって後押ししてる人もいるんだよな。二人の CG がいる。なんか変わんないな、あんまり光景が。
No! What do we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here.
わかったわかった。
You are going to stay here, aren't you? You heard me before, didn't you? You will die. What about this isn't getting through to you?
いいな。余裕がなくなってきてんのがいいわ。このおっさんも。しょうがない。つまんな。だってあそこにいてもつまんないんだもん。じゃあ行きますか。
No! Oh, thank God you lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room?
一回飛び降りて戻るやつやばいよな。
There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop moving.
なんだ、面白くないな、もうこの光景見飽きたんだよな。すまんな。
Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this.
変わらん。向こうもあっちも変わらん。停滞は死ぞ。
No. No, no. What are you doing? Do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you?
もう信じろっつってるな。でも。うわ、迷うね。もう一回飛び降りたらさすがに死んじゃうよな。こいつも、スタンリーも。ハラハラドキドキしてっけれども、おっさんも。終わる？これ。正直ここにいたところでなんだよな。しょうがないから ルフィにも後押しされてるし。やばいな。行きたいと言えって言ってた人が進める行為じゃないんだよな。ごめんな、ナレーターくん。よし。行くぜ。
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
あ、
Yes.
ちょっと
Perhaps
歩
you
く速度
can.
遅くなってる。
Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about.
やっぱ痛
I
めて
know
るんだ。
you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you? No, perhaps not.
ごめんな、ナレーターくん。俺は
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
そこまでは思ってないんだよな。そこまでは思ってないよ。ただあそこの部屋がちょっともうつまんなくなってきちゃっただけなんだよね。でもよく生きてるな、あんな高さから2回飛び降りて。骨は折れてるでしょ。なんか実績解除した。変なタイミングで。こっから脱出したいめう。本当に意味がなさそう、ここにいることは。この部屋に入った 98% の人間が死を選ぶな。この絵については何も触れないんだよね。落ちぬか。すまんね。別に君のことは嫌いではないよ。ただ新しい結末が見たいだけだ俺は。残りの2%はあそこで放置してたね。ヒュー。
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
ヒュヒュヒュー。
Is it over?
Oh.
It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
気を取り直して。
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days?
ちょ
Centuries?
っと変わっ
Did
てる。
something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on.
ね、ちょっとだけかわいそうだった。
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference.
申し訳ないけ
Nor
どね。
did it advance the story
でも
in
ね
any way.
あそこの空間にずっといた方がね、おかしくなっちゃうね。やべ、今回触れるパソコンがないわ。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
そう、従業員
The
ラウン
lounge
ジ。
was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room but eager to get back to business?
Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death.
嘘、助かると思っ
Good
た
job,
わ。
Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very
だってさっきあ
powerful.
んな高い台から3回も飛び降りても知らなかったんだ。絶対左に行
A
かないよ
soft
ね。
wind blew outside and perhaps
So
rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
左はね、
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and
行ってもいい
Stanley
んだ
knew
け
it
どね。
perfectly well. Perhaps he
一番最
wanted
初
to
行った
stop
から
by the employee lounge first, just to admire
どういう
it.
シナリオなんだろうって言って、この
Standing
指示
now
中
in
の
this
おっさん
incredible
の
room,
指示通りに一
Stanley
回
for
動
the
いたんだよ
first but eager to get back to business,
あとはもう俺が
Stanley
好きなよう
took
に
the
やらせ
first
てもらう
open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
あの上とか行けそうやな。ベント以外に行けたりすんのかな。
But in his eagerness to
死んじゃうん
prove
だ。
that he is in
ダメな
all
ん
of
だ。
his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
うん、あのモニターが見えないね。次は左に行ってみるか、じゃあ。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find... Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
物置に入ったらめちゃくちゃ焦ってたな。楽しいね。そう、人が慌てふためいてんだからいいっすよね。おっさん、今頃頭抱えてんだろうな。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
なるほど。下行くの初めてだな。大丈夫か。駐車場み
But
たいなとこ
Stanley
に来た。
just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations.
Oh.
For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
めたい
Were
こと
they
言って
simply
るな。
repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be
そう
real.
だ。
and at last he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it.
気のせいで
I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an
夢なら早く
explanation.
覚めてくれ
His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
すごい
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me,
卵が先
thinking
か
about
鶏
how
が
it's
先か
describing my thoughts.
ナレーションが先かスタン
Among
リ
he thought
ー
it
が
all very odd,
Stanley
and
の
wondered if
思
this
考が
voice
先か
spoke to all people in their dreams. The truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be?
怖い
Was
怖
Stanley
い怖い
simply
怖い
deceiving himself?
そしてこ
Believing
こ
that
に
if he's
車があるの
asleep,
も
he
結
doesn't
構
have
怖
to
い
take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
エグジットだ
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up.
目が
He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back,
あ夢だったんだ
the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be
本当に
over.
狂っちゃうよスタンリー
Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming.
やばい
Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
気狂っちゃったスタンリー
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
マリエラさんになっちゃった
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal.
おい
I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what is
スタンリー
It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel
死体
better.
見てホッとしてん
But
じゃ
then
ねえ
she
よお前
remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life.
うん
She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
救急車も呼んでもらえなかったスタンリーお前 よかった、生きてた。でも
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
社
Perhaps
畜
he
の
had
鏡
simply
だね
missed a memo.
そうだけども、そう大事な会議あるから人死んでるけどちょっとあれだなって、ごめんねって感じで、そこを通り過ぎるならまだしも
Stanley
さ、
came to a set of 2 open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
自分
And
が
Stanley knew
いかに
it
幸
perfectly
せで
well.
あるかを
Perhaps he
自
wanted to
覚す
stop
んの
by the
も
employee
だい
lounge
ぶいかれてる
first,
と思うけ
just
ど
to
な、
admire it.
狂人を見て。
Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
おもれ
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's
普通にあっ
incredible he
ちの
wasn't
上行っ
5
てみたいん
years
だよ
ago.
な。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by
これも
yourself.
キワキワいけん
I'm
のか
not
な。
asking for me, I'm asking for her.
うわっ
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
ごめん、死んじゃった。
I can't
Stanley,
wait to tell this story to
go
my
man.
co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
ドッカンドッカン笑うだろうなって。ドッカンドッカンって言葉、ドラゴンボール以外で使わないんだよな。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps too much, but eager to get back to
言ってるこ
business,
とちょっと違
Stanley
う
took
わ。
the first open door on his left.
さっきのエンディング見てからだと普通に落下死した敵と
Stanley
に
was
西
so
に思
bad
えて
at
くるもん
following
ね。そうだ
directions,
けど
it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
失敗した時に言うのもな。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting,
落
Stanley.
ち着きのないスタン
Someone
リ
you've
ー。
forgotten about. Please, stop
ま
trying
だ
to
ね、
make
震えて
every
んのかもしれな
decision
い。
by
高所恐怖
yourself.
症で。
Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
あでもこっ
This
ち
is
ベ
it,
ントないみ
Stanley.
たいだな。
Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside,
彼
to
女
let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
何待ってますよって言ってんだ。いや無理そう。行ったところでって感じするわ。完全倉庫だね。何ここ、怖いんだけど黒すぎて。
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her.
もしもし？
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you?
おい。
I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
怖すぎ。
Sorry, but
Oh.
you're in my story now.
こいつ世界を支配してやがる。ナレーターの正体、白いマネ
This
キ
is a
ン。
very sad story about the death of a man named
死んだ？
Stanley.
なんだ？プレス G。
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what
や
he's
ば、
told to
俺の
do.
ことを言ってるな。
Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. 押してやるもんか。でも押さないとダメっぽいな。 But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
この冷蔵庫のドアがこっち向きなのすごいあれだな。
And so he began to
家具の
fantasize
配
about
置
his
の
own
敗
job.
北を意味してる。
First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss,
これだったっけ？
everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
少年たちと過ごすために V を押してください。
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either.
あったね。
At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
飲食の準備をするため M を押してください。
As he wandered through this
変わっ
fantasy
てるよ、
world,
やっ
he
ぱり。
began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
怖すぎ。
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be?
スタンリーの部屋っ
Perhaps
ぽ
if
い
he
んだよ
played
な、ちょっ
just
と。
one more time.
最初の職場の。あなたの愛に愛を伝え、あなたの妻に愛を伝えるため愛を押してください。
But there is no answer.
ほら、
How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed.
これあれ
The
だ。
longer he spends here, the more invested he gets.
スタンリー
The
は
more he
初めからど
forgets
こにも
which
行
life
ってい
is
な
the
かっ
real
たって
one.
いうオチになるんだ。
And I'm trying to tell him this. That in this world he can never
全
be
部妄想
anything
だったん
but
だ
an
これ。
observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
ロサウンドじゃあ。俺には自由意志があるんだ。それ以外はめちゃくちゃ押してやるからな。ちなみにキーバインドなんかあんだっけ？スペース、ジャンプ。スペースがあんの？ジャンプがあんの？ジャンプできないけど。うわもうこれ測られてるわ。愛を押す以外に手段がないな。
You
遅っ。
see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
うわ。
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose.
スタンリ
The
ーは
same
結
as
局
Stanley.
と
We're not so
この声
different,
は
I
届いて
suppose.
ないんだな。
I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm
ナレー
compelled
ターの声
to.
は
I
俺らにしか
must.
聞こえてねえんだ。
Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
え、死んでくだ
Stanley
さい。
pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
すごいエンディングだ。飼い殺されてるし、この病的なまでのスタンリーの
All of his co-workers were gone.
生活
What
は
could it mean?
スタンリー
Stanley
自身
decided
が
to
持
go to the
つ
meeting room. Perhaps he had
本
simply
質で
missed
も
a
あり
memo.
そしてこのナレーターの声はそもそも届かないっていうことだったんだな。でこのさっきまでプレイしてた世界は全部スタンリーの妄想の中の世界でもあったんだな。あ、ニューコンテント。これはいいや、ほっとこう。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
どうしよっかな。戻れたらいいんだけどね。電話を取らない選択肢もあったのかな。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. And here it was, the lounge. What a room, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
こっち行ってないよね。
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
ああ、はいはいはい。会議室の方に行けるんだ。なるほど。あ、そうね。赤ちゃんのゲームとか言ってたもんね。一番有名なの赤ちゃんのゲームじゃないですか。
Yet there was not a single person
どう
here
やって行くのか
either.
も俺知らないんだけ
Feeling
ど
a。wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
やばい。物置が対策されてる。遊べなくなってるわ。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked
まさか
upstairs
下の
to
部屋
his
も塞が
boss's
れてたりす
office.
る。あ、それはいけるんだ。下の部屋行くと3時ピンチになっちゃうんで、上の部屋行ってみるか。トイレだけど。トイレに何も要素がないなんてことある？なんもないっぽいな。あ、今度はこのパソコンになってる。え、こっち行けるようになってる。行こう。どうも。かわいいパンダですね。なんて書いてある？ビジネスストラテジー。すげえこと書いてある。経営戦略ってこと脅しってこと？すごいな。パンダみたいな金のなる木を銃で脅して従わせるってことか。スタンリーっつった？は？ ってんだろスタンリーって。全然つかねえんだけどこのエレベーター。ナレーターも飽きてきてるって。何回まであんの。そりゃBGM が用意されるわけだ。すごいゲームだな。そろそろ天空島以上超えたんじゃない？わかんない。超えたとしたらどこに行くんだよって話だけどね。一周した？してねえよ。鼻歌が違うもん。そろそろ着くかな。はぁーつってた。どうも CG 中です。お、来たか CG 中。待ってたよ。今エレベーター乗ってるとこですね。かりんとうのエレベーターとかこんな感じだろうな。負けねえぞ俺は負けねえからな、ナレーターに。配信だからとか言って容赦しねえぞ俺。スタンリーっつってさ。とりあえずレベリングした方がいいと思います。やばい、全然何も分かってないこの人。いつ着くんだよ。たまにあるけどこういうエレベーターとか。でもそれってあれだけどね、エレベーターが来るのを待つ方だと思うけどね。中でこんな待つことはないんだよ。 軌道エレベーター超えた外出たらもう宇宙とかにいんの俺。なんか酸素薄くなってきたな。なんかため息ついてる。初めからどこにも移動してなかった。さすがにきつかったわ。俺も暇だな。スタンリーアークナイツでもしようぜ。スタンリーアークナイツ好きかな。やっぱ意味ないんだつまんねえ皆さん。待たせちゃって。
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks.
屈する。
Not
さすが
a
に
living soul anywhere.
廃品じゃなかったら放
Could
置して
he
た
really
わ。
be
でも
all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
喋らせてもらえなかったから怒ってるわ。
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
なんだこれは。上司の部屋にこんなところが隠されていただなんて。それはそれとしてなぜ俺は暗証番号が分かったんだバチ切れで草会場パスワードは5963ご苦労さんだ。わざわざあれって。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television
なんだ
screens.
このモニター
What
は。
horrible secret did this place hold?
ここにはどんなに恐ろしい秘密があ
Did
る
he
のだろ
have
う。
the strength to find out?
怖いな怖いな怖いな。
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals
俺たちは
reduced to images on a screen.
監視させられ、
And
監視さ、
Stanley, one of
か
them,
か
eternally
神々
monitored
神
in this
々
place,
監
where
視
freedom meant
さ
nothing.
れていたのか。怖いな。
This
あ、そうそうそう、モニターだらけの部屋、
mind
これだ
control
ね
facility,。It was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control
俺は
all this time? Was this the
マイ
only
ンド
reason
コン
he
トロー
was
ルされて
happy
いたっ
with
ていう
his
のか。
boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
この秘密を
No,
解き明かさ
he
あの
refused
か
to believe it. He couldn't accept
気を
it.
貸
His
さな
own
ければ。
life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content.
ここ
Walking,
とか行け
eating,
そうで行け
working,
ないね。
all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
この部屋の雰囲気はサイコパスのシビラシステムを彷彿とさせる。なんこれ ?1、2。うわ、なんかありそう。で、あそこが 3？ でもこう扉が閉じられてていけないんだよな。いっちゃん最初にやったシナリオが、まあ、たまたま違かったんですけど、あ、3がある。あ、5だ。あそこに3があるっぽいな。うわ、でもここ行けねえ。とりあえずファシリティパワー、施設の電源をオンにしてみますか。
And when at last he found the source of... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do, for example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent. Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone.
なんか助かる道がありそう。
I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it on? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button. or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Sold?
何
Do
何
you
もで
have
きない
any
のか
idea what your purpose in this place is?
フェールセーフがある。
Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching
So-
a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you
Goodbye, employee
Take a look at the clock,
427.
Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice.
なんかある
Make
の
it
かな
count. Or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life
やばい
from the moment we fade in until the moment I say
やばい
clear up.
あムカつくー死んだわ。跡形もなく吹き飛んだ。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
くっそー。助かる道がありそうでなかったのがムカつくな。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was
い
okay.
つか吠え面かかしてやるからな。
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
こことかも登れそうなんだけどね。関係ないのか。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but
Wait.
you. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the... All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen?
お前が
Well,
何をした
don't
か
let
俺は
me
知っているからな。
stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer
こ
textures.
れ
Is this what you had wanted?
壁何も貼っ
Was
てな
it
いから
worth
こう
ruining the
いう
entire story I had written out
テクスチャになってるのか。
specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing.
ああ、
Because
満
this
足だ
is
わ。
what you wanted to see.
満足満足。
Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires
何も
of
用意されてなかっ
yours.
たけど
What
満
would
足
have
だわ。
made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some
なんだ？
feedback. There we go. A third option.
Oh.
This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
シーリングライトって書いてある。なんて書いてある？オルタナティブアイテレーション。関係ないね。 そう。ここに連れてこられるわ。
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be
評価をしろってこ
honest.
と？
I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
なるほど。
A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1?
評価
It's not
1。
even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that?
まあ確かにな。
But I guess it isn't
全
my
然
place
建
to
設的じゃ
judge.
ないよな。
Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
ザ・スタンリー・パラブルワールドワイドリーダーボード。なんだ？何これ？何の評価？世界ランキングみたいなのが見れるな。俺9328位なの？はあ。こっち行ってみようかな、じゃあ。ああ、連れてこられるわ。
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
なんだ？
In
Oh,
this game,
出た!
the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly
赤ちゃん
confronting the
勝手に
demands
自
of
ら火の
family
とこに
life.
行かねえ
I
よ。
think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game
これだ、
only
俺が
becomes
スタンリー
clear
パラブル
once
で
you've
唯
been
一知
playing
って
it
る
for
とこ
about
ろ。
4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of
せ
play to make
燃え
sure
て
it's
るやん。
effective. Be sure to keep notes on your experience. You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite
生きてる
me?
やん。
Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done.
やばい。
It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so
も
awful,
うスタンリー
why
に
don't we
対
play
して
someone
話して
else's
ないもん
game?
ね。
Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here?
俺に対して言ってるもんね。
Yes. This seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
なんだ？
Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley?
別ゲーになっ
What's
ちゃ
our
った。
backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy
クソ
man
みてえなゲーム
spying
の
on
始まった
innocent
なって。
civilians below
さっきの
you
赤ちゃん
from
のやつ
up
は有
high
名
in
だ
your
よね。
creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose.
何をするゲー
Yes,
ムなんだ
that
ろう。
must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental
出れんのかな？
depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
マイクラのドアの音みたいなのしたけど。なんだ？何をするゲーム？あ、反対側か。ザ・ハンター、コール・オブ・ザ・ワイルドとかこういう感じだったけどね。こっちのことキモいやつ呼ばわりしてきてるの草なんだが。もうキモいよな、正直。ナレーターからしたらたまったもんじゃない。
Oh no. No, 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 it can't be.
あ？なんだ？
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
は？
Thank goodness, Stanley. What a
出
close
た。
call.
このレンガの壁。
I nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it.
なんだ、オープンワールドゲーム
What's
は
now, Stanley? Okay, I'm going to get us
気
out
に
of
入らない
here.
のか？
Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big,
ナレーター的にも困るだろうけどな、確かに。やばい、また別のゲームにさせられる。
Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
うわぁ。なんだこれ。
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design.
確かにこれだったら
Stanley, if you
ど
manage
こ
to
に行
get
くこと
lost
も
in
ない
this
な。
game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
何をするゲームなんだこれ。
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's
ボールも
see.
何もないけど。
There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I
Rugby.
think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
来た。おお、すごい。ヘディングしかできないけど、これ一人でやっても楽しくねえんだよな。ゴール。ボールが出
Are
て
you
きた。
doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story? Hold on. What are you doing?
俺自身がボールになるんだ。え？
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
ね、ロケットリーグだね。ああ、キャビネットがここには用意されてるはずだったんだ。やばい、ゲームの裏側みたいなとこに来ちゃった。戻ってきてって言っても戻る方法がないんだよな。暗くて先に進めないな。あ、やばい。完全に。やばい。ホラーゲームっぽくなってきた。セブンデイズ・トゥ・ダイにこんなんあったぞ。こういうオフィス。やばい。スタンリー・パラブルにおいて、こういうナレーターの声が聞こえないのはすごい不安になるな。しかもドアも勝手に閉まらない。なんだ。安心していたのか、俺は知らず知らずの間に。でも入れるわけじゃない。あ、427。スタンリーの社員番号と一緒だ。何かを触れるわけでもない。あ、
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now.
彼が今
I
どこに
wonder
い
if
る
he's
として
happy
も。
with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me.
それは
Someone
そ
who
うか
will
もしれ
wrap
ない。
everything up at the end to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
終わった。ナレーターの手を離れることができたと思ったら、ついにこれが5つ目になったな。ポチ。ウェルカム スタンリー・トゥ・ヘブン。怖い怖い怖い怖い。押せる？え、まさか全部消すの？めんどくさ。編集できる動画だったら絶対早送りになってるこれ。多すぎだろ。これあれだよ、地獄でやるやつだよ。なんか勝手にボタンを押した人が行く人の地獄だね。押しちゃいけないボタンを勝手に押した人が落ちる地獄だねこれ。多いよ、結構あるよ。え、これ戻ってない？うわ、戻ってってる。一定時間で戻るんだこれ。何これって俺が聞きたいわ。赤色だけを全部押すのかな。やばい、何したらいいか分かんないよ、さすがに。頭がおかしくなっちまったな。よく見ると光ってるボタンと光ってないボタンがある。関係ないか。こうしてればいいのか。でもうわー、目が疲れる。あー、おかしくなるかと思った。どうやら死んじゃうようだ。でも絶対エンディングとしては違うんだろうな。なんかしなきゃいけ
Stanley
ないん
had
だな。
never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of
怖
something?
かった。
He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
ちょっとどっかで調べてみたいですね、あれは。検索して。ニューコンテンツ。ニューコ
When
ンテンツも
Stanley
触っ
came
て
to
な
a
い
set
とこ
of
ろを
two
触っ
open
てやりた
doors,
いな。
he entered the door on his left.
入ってみよう。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's
関係なく
office.
塞がれてんの。
Hoping coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
下は狂っちゃうところか。上に行こう。まだやってないね。やつがあるはずなんだよね。
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons.
Yabai.
Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
簡略化された。ひどいよ。簡略化された。なんてこった。そんなすぐね、勝手に秘密の通路開いちゃったらびっくりするでしょ、スタンリーも。そう、何を隠そう。初回でやったこのミス。もう一回上のボタンを押したらどうなるのかっていうやつ。
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office?
これを繰り返したらどうなるんだろう。
Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
え？ボタンを没収された？あったあった。
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again.
めちゃくちゃディスられてる。
This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have. An incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow. I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
ご苦労さんだ。違う。お返し下に降りるか。
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down
乗ることも
again.
しなくていい
Ladies
の？
and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
あ、でも、あれだ。下に。もう一回上行きまーす。
Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No.
No.
It's time once again to go back up in the elevator.
頭
I
がお
can't
か
even
しい。
begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this
上司の
time?
オフィス
The
なんか？
suspense is killing me.
どうなっちゃうの？スタンリー。上司のオフィスだ。やった。
Oh my god. It's the boss's office.
やべ、SE までついた。
This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this.
お、なんだ？水を飲む鳥のやつ出てきちゃったけど。
Okay, I'm ready.
Huh?
I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No! No, wait! No! I need more time to process.
なんか変わった？なんで待機画面は用意してやんだよ。いいな、これ欲しいな、この待機画面。あ、
All right.
帰ってきた。
I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
なんか変わったんか？これいるってわからん。こういう面白さなんでしょ？違うな。
Of course. Going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even
まさか
anticipate
スタンリー
it.
が
That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making
エレベ
is.
ーター
A
を
breath
往
of
復する
fresh
とは思わな
air
かったん
in
だ
a
ろうな。
landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
まあな、そうこんなの予想だにつかないよな。なんもなしに。
You know what? I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize?
怒られちゃっ
It's
て
the
る。
anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow? There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters?
遅いの。
Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises? To have to think and to anticipate and then to
どう
marvel
せ
at the
上司の
eventual
オフィスに着く
reveal.
のは分かってるんだ
This
から。
is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years. And it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is
め
unique
ちゃく
and
ちゃ怒ってる
different.
でも。
It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley.
や
I
っぱ
want to have
あ
to
る
think.
程度指示
I
に
want
従
to be
うことの
engaged
重要
and
性
not
が分かってき
pandered
ますね、
to.
このゲ
We're
ームは。
being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley. Because you're not afraid to
でもあれだ
spit
な、
in the
ゆっ
face
くり
of
登るとさ
tradition.
っきとは
You're
違
a
うとこ
role
に行ってる
model, you
みたいな
know.
気分になる
People
な。
look up to you. Which is why, oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the
記者会見？
public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for
お、
the better.
違うとこに着いた。
Oh, good, we're here. Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner
ライブオ
here
ンステー
somewhere.
ジ。私たちが作りましたピラミッド。嘘つけ。火星に行った男。スタンリーもフィクションだって言いたいのか？ワールドピースベイビー。やべ。なんか、なぜかだ。
Yes, here it is, just through this door.
なぜか知んないが、赤ちゃんを見ると罪悪感が。アレキサンダー。2
All
ステー
right,
ジ。
are you ready?
Welcome,
I've told them you're
Stanley.
going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry.
やべ。
You'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the
や
heart.
めろその
I'm
顔文字。
really proud of you, Stanley. Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get them.
やべ、ここでメイクとかした方がいいんじゃないの？ 427 って書いてある。The Storyteller、スタンリー。はあはあはあはあ。ん？スタンリーが書いたやつの Remember where you come from。これはなんか最後のところかな。スタンリー、ミー。 なんかファンレターみたいなのも送られてる。なんだ、アップアゲイン、ダウンアゲイン。おい、完全にさっきのエレベーターのことを皮肉ってるじゃねえかよ。いつの間にか本出版してることになってるって俺。うわ、すごい。どうもー。どうもー。どうもー。どうもー。どうもー。どうもー。すごい。うっさ。ひでえな。人気者になったんだ俺。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
人気者だったんだ。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
It was okay.
ふう。このラウンジは落ち着くな。でも
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the
なん
room.
かちょっと登れるんだよ。
Room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it. At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
めちゃくちゃ文句言われる。ラウンジで休憩してるだけでしょうが。ねえ。こんなとこに。
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
ふう。同僚がみんないなくなったってのに、まずやることがね、ラウンジに行ってサボるっていうね。素晴らしい胆力ですよ、スタンリー。さすがに、あれか？何もないか。すごい、ちゃんとテーブルの上を歩いた時の木のきしむ男。俺もラウンジでサボりたい。まあ、それは同僚がみんないなくなってからにしてくださいね、さすがに。あ、登れる。コーヒーメーカーの上にも登れる。この自動販売機の出るところの出っ歯に乗れるのか。
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
これもあったな。ちゃんとあれだ、下に落ちるだけのボタンだったな。
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off
上に
track.
戻れなくなった。
So now, in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's, left.
急なアドリブに対応しよう
Oh,
とした。
no, it's to the right, my mistake.
なんだよ。
No, not the
こっち
right.
か。
Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Now let's see. We went down, right, left, down, left, right. Yep. Okay. Yes, I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
おお。おう。ワクワクしてきたよ。あ、これは。
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
なんだこれ。
Okay.
なんだこれ。
Just get back to Oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now.
これ何？
The whole story completely unusable. How about rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this
俺ら
time,
は
suppose we
監
don't
視され
wander
てた
so far off
って
track.
こと？
Okay, from the top.
グダグダになった。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley... Wait.
あれ？
Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over.
ドア
Completely
が
fresh.
たくさん増え
Everything
て
should
る。
be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors?
Yeah.
Did you move the story somewhere or...
そんな能力はないね。
Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then, it's an adventure. Come, Stanley, let's find the story.
え？適当になってる。あ？大丈夫かなこっちって。そんな赴くままに。は？すごいいろんなとこ
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
あ。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it
何
mean?
事もなかったかのよう
Stanley
に。
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong.
やばい。
It's possible the story is back where we just came
スタ
from.
ンリ
Why
ー、
don't
出
we
れ
go
ず。
back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
おかしいな。ここに会議室があったはずなんだけどな。しょうがない。何もないなら。
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes.
あれ？
No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way
ちょ
and
っと
retrace our
しっかりして
steps.
よ、指示中さん。え？大丈夫？行っていいところこれ。
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley?
行き止まりだ。
Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
Oh.
Congratulations!
やったー。
I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good job.
やった。
Oh no, no,
勝った。
I don't feel right about this at all. We both
いい
know
ね。
you didn't
勝
put
て
in
た
any
ん
actual
なら
work
ま
for
あ
that win. Some people win fair and
ナレ
square,
ー
and
タ
this
ー
was
に勝
not
った
one
って
of
こと
those
でいいですか？じゃあ
situations.
今
Okay?
回。
I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
ああ、また。 なんだこれ。
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
なるほど。黄色い線に、こっちで合ってる？ソリティアやってるこいつ。425番。
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize.
大丈夫？
Where
こ
I
れ。
was going with
こ
all
こで
that.
壁に走っ
You know what?
て、
I think what we
こ
need
う
right
壁
now
走っ
is a bit
て
of music.
天
to
井
move
走っ
mood.
て、なんだ？うっさうっさ。ちょっと。すごい。アドベンチャーになってる、ちゃんと。ムード盛り上げ楽団みたいな。結局こっちかい。
Cut the music. Go back and look.
うっさかったー。
Look at that fern.
戻ってシナを見よう。これ
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story.
なんで？
Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
わかった。そういうなら。シダ植。
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
シダ植物だけ覚えておこうね。
Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have
No,
done
no,
this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you...
No, no,
I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
あ。なんだここは。なんだここはおかしいか。
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
お、新しい道を提示してくれたか。
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new
なん
path,
もねえ
a
けど。
new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
頼んだぜ。
Oh, no, not you again.
破ってきてる。
Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
すごい。こいつとナレーターが戦ってるな。
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay,
すごい。
so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
左手の法則ではなくて、あ、混乱、なにこれ？
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined?
なにこれ？
So
ナ
now,
レーターがいな
according
く
to
な
the
る。
schedule, I
ついにスタ
restart
ンリー
again.
が死ぬ。
Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing.
混乱エンドスケジュールを見つける。
Well,
ナレーターがゲームをリスタートす
consulted
る。
me.
5回目のリスター
Why
ト。
don't I get
ナ
to
レーターが
decide?
前のリスタート
Why
を
don't
忘
I
れる。
get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the
ベタす
cycle?
ぎるな。
The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know?
ナレーター
Will
の
someone come for us?
以上の存在がいるってこと？
So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
おお。めちゃくちゃホラーやん。最後の怖かった今の。敵はナレーターだけじゃないんだ。
Am I sure that the orders stopped coming
完
in?
全
How is that possible?
アドベンチャーライン
They
を
never
追加した
stop.
ことでおかしく
Surely
な
I
っちゃっ
was
ただろう。
mistaken.
このインプットのやつは何なんだろう。
No, the orders were still missing. For now.
ウェルカムスタンリートゥヘブン。これ何なんだろう一体。何をしたら終わりなんだろう。なんかありそうでないな。わかんねえ。これ調べないとわかんないな。一回調べてみるか。ちょっとあれだけど、ずるだけど。ヘブンエンディングってのがあるっぽいな。やばい、結構ネタバレ踏みそう。天国エンド。 わ、なんか結構あるな。結構あるけど、天国エンドのあれがわかんねえわ。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
あとやってないのはエスケープってところか。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
こっちだね。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
What?
Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Oh, thank God, you...
間違えちゃったわ。ファシリティルームじゃねえ。なんだっけ、パワーファシリティの方に行かないといけないんだ、これ。
All of his co-workers were gone.
ってことは地下に行かないといけないのか。
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
ってことは左行って、
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors,
ナレーター通
he
り
entered the
上
door
司の
on
オフィ
his
スに行かない
left.
といけないんだ。何の音だ？変な音がするね。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
早っ。もう開い
Here's
て
the
る。
door, just go.
早すぎる。最後は
Stanley walked straight ahead through the
逃亡して終わりてえな。
large door that read
これです。
Mind Control Facility.
エスケープ。
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall,
え？
Stanley would meet his violent death.
なんで？いや、まさか。死なな
The
いよ。
door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
非業なしだってさ。
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
なんだ？え？死ぬ？おお。いいてー。
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger
なんだ
picture.
これ。
He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like
なんか
plucking the
潰される
eyeballs
んだ
from
け
a
ど。
blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent
Ah.
end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
ぺちゃんこになってる。
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
違う人がナレーターをしてくれた。
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
なんだ
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
風景が。オフィスレイアウト。この青写真ではゲーム開始時のオフィスの様子が見られます。すごい。2つのドア。飛ぶ棚。どういうこと？廊下。はいはいはいはい。スタンリーのパソコン。やばい。メタの最上位だろこれ。展示されてる。オフィス。ボタンの音。やばい。クレジットが書いてある。おい、なんか主張が強い。火の打ちどころないくらいのナレーター。おー、すげえ。おしゃれだな。オフィスの時計。上司のオフィス。はいはいはいはい。フリーダムエンド。はいはいはいはいはい。なにこれ。カウントダウンエンドの初期バージョンに登場したし机の初期です。なるほどね。ベータ版にあったフリーダムエンド。なんだこれ。モニタールームエレベーター。一時期モニタールームのエレベーターは上下に動き、上がフリーダム、下がカウントダウンとなっていました。なるほどね。カウントダウンルームの初期バージョン。めたいな、これ。エスケープメニュー。長いことエスケープメニューからプレイヤーがリスタートしたとき、エンデッドのエンディングだけのエンディングを採用しました。残念ながらそのことに気づいておらず、なんだ なんか難しいあれがあったみたいだな。ゼンディング。なんだこれ。何なのかわかんないな。ゼンディングレバー。到達したことないエンディングを見れるんだ。すごい。ゲームトレーラーが見えるゲーム内で。斬新すぎるだろ。なにこれ。会議室。メンテナンスレイアウト。ちゃんと分かりやすく設計してるんだな。あー、電話に出ないとっていう話か。なるほど、電話に出ないエンディングもあるんだ。ああ、貨物リフト。おお。おしゃれやな。交戦地帯。開発当初、私たちはスタンリーがエイリアンと戦場で戦うエンディングをデザインしました。なるほどね。ここで弁明しとるわ。そういう意図ではねえと。なこれ。ナレーターのメール。ラウンジ。あー、全然違う、今と。なんだこれ。スタンリーのオフィス。左から右にそれぞれ作ってるって。これが当初のスタンリーのオフィス。ああ、変わった。おお、変わった。なんだこれ。ゲームデザインモックアップ。こっち見てないな。ラウンジ。地下。はいはいはいはいはい。これはなんだ。
Stanley walked over the bridge.
すごいな。ほんで、イグジットがあったけど、そっちに行ったらどうなるんだ、俺は。
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
オン、オフ。オフにしてみよ
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
Oh.
But listen to me. You can still save those two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you.
うわぁ潰されたいおお
But Stanley simply... All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
なるほどね
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
まだ行ってないところとかもあるんだな。でもな見たことないエンディングとかもあったし
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
もう勝手に
Here's the door, just go.
Hmm. ああ確かにローディングだけじゃなくてエンドって書いてあるな
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. Aha! You've...
でも特にないかこれに何か秘密があると思ったんだが
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Hmm. ニューコンテンツは次回やるか
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
あそこだけ空いてんだよな。絶対死ぬよな。あ、これどうなっちゃう
Oh,
の？
well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform, or test your luck by jumping to the floor below. You know what? Looking at it now, it's not that far to the bottom floor. I bet you can make it.
いや、
Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
死んだが。あ、ダメなんだ。やべ、押しちゃった。はい。いやー、わかんねえな、でも。あ、すごい、ちゃんとこれも連動してる。どうせここにもなんかあるんだろう、こういうゲームは。ないのか。うむ。というわけで本日はここまでにしたいと思います。次回はね、ニューコンテンツって書いてあったところが多分ウルトラデラックスならではのね、コンテンツだと思うので、多分そうじゃない、多分そうだと思うんだよね。次回はそっちの方に行ってみたりとか、他のなんか、見たことがない選択肢の方をね触ってみようと思います。というわけでお疲れ様でした。明日は9時からイズモズコラボの方がねございますので、よかったらそちらもご覧ください。それではまた次回の配信でお会いいたしましょう。お疲れ様でした。バイバイ。おつー。